Hello, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Um, Not sure
What's
what
up,
that is.
everyone?
There
Can you
you
hear
are.
me?
Yes.
All right. Welcome everyone to Conversation with Coach Angie. Again, I have the phenomenal Dr. Akmal Muwakil joining us to talk about, again, women's health. This is his forte. This is what he has studied for many, many, many years, 40 plus years. And without further ado, please help me welcome Dr. Akmal. Welcome.
Good evening, and how are you? And how is your guest? I pray that everybody is doing well. Um,
We are.
in this evening, I want to talk about what's coming. And what's coming is fall, autumn. And in autumn, things change a lot from what's happening during the summer. Okay. And so with that being the case, also and many of your listeners who's tuned in before know that I talk about the seasons and how the seasons change and how they affect the body. And so we're leaving summer and we're going into fall and autumn. So that's going to have a different kind of temperament on the body, and especially women, more than men, because of the fact that excuse me, during autumn, you know, we change from the heart and small intestines, and we know that women are more susceptible than men to heart attacks. And so we move from the summer, which has to do with basically the digestive system, and it has to do with the heart and the circulation of the blood. As we move to autumn, autumn brings a different kind of energy. It brings the energy of cleansing, not nourishing. Summer is about nourishing. Autumn is about cleansing. There's two cleansing seasons, and there's two nourishing and fortifying seasons. The cleansing seasons are spring and autumn. Spring is the season to really detoxify the body because of the fact that it's the liver season, and the liver now is talking about cytochrome P450. So that's there. During the autumn, it's the lungs, large intestines. So what the lungs do is the lungs oxygenate the blood, which creates a cleansing. Okay. The large intestines removes the waste byproducts from the foods we're eating. Okay. So that's a real important time, and especially for women, because if your bowel tract doesn't move waste out in a timely manner, guess what's sitting in front of it? Your uterus. Yeah. Your uterus is sitting in front of it. And so that negative energy that's stored can also affect what's happening with the uterus. A lot of women who have fibroids, wind up and they talk about, I've had women who talked about they had to take out portions of their bowel. Okay. And
Oh,
they took out portions of it, but because the fibroids what had adhered to it.
oh, wow.
Okay. So the piece of that is the fact of that, this is the season to really get rid of the waste byproducts and begin to create the healing. The lungs also and the large intestines also have to do with the energy of grief and sadness. So if you're grieving, this is the time to really create the balance of that grieving so that you don't take it into winter. Because if you take it into winter, it can wind up being fear, and you wind up with a lack of willpower. So then you can go into manic depression. You see. So the piece of that is, this is the season to create the balance for yourself. This is the season to really work on your blood in the way not only of oxygenating it, but allowing for the nutrients of it to circulate through your body, because that's what the breath does. You know, so people who are doing yoga, qigong, tai chi, things of that nature, anything having to do with breath work, this is really the season for them to do that. The other part of that is the fact that in traditional Chinese medicine, autumn is the season to maintain the balance of your immune system. This is when you really have the enhancement of your immune system, because of the fact that the lungs and the large intestines have to work with the skin, and the skin is their organ, and the skin has to do with how from the outside those germs come into the body. Okay. And so what has to happen, and what happens is that when the immune system on the outside is working properly, then we don't get certain kinds of ailments. And understand the fact that your nose has an interaction with the outside world. And the sensory organs of your nose are your lungs. So as you're breathing in air, toxics, those kinds of things, they begin to work on your lungs. The other piece of that is that if you have eczema, psoriasis, skin issues, a lot of time that's a lung issue. Okay. And that's like I have vitiligo. So I've had a lung issue and a liver issue that attacked my lungs. And so as I'm working through it, it's getting better because of the fact of what I'm doing. So
Mhm.
this is the season, if you or your child, your mate, always are having coughs, colds, and the flu, this is the season to enhance that. You know, this is the season to fast. This is the season to eat foods in their proper combination. And this is the food time to eat foods that are in season. You know, I had a list of them. I was going to go down the list, but I guess it's upstairs. But people can find that list on my website, okay, of foods that are for autumn. You know, this is a season where we don't eat a lot of watery foods. In the summertime, you eat watery foods. You eat melons, a lot of melons, a lot of watery fruits, that kind of thing. But during this season, you don't eat those. And the reason you don't eat those is because of the fact of that we're going and especially if you live in climates where it's cold, okay, where the temperament of the digestive tract is changing, and so now we need to actually put in more heavier foods. It's real interesting because the digestive tract is slowing down, but
Mhm.
the foods that you put in are basically prebiotics. A lot of the foods that you put in are prebiotics. The grains, okay, are prebiotics, because what they do is they go in and they move stuff out. Because if you eating rice, you'll see that rice is going to bring that waste out. Green vegetables, them green vegetables that you would eat are green vegetables that definitely going to move waste out of the body. At the same time, they're going to give you things like chlorophyll and B vitamins and vitamin A. The same thing with things like barley. Barley, you eat barley, barley comes right out. But barley's leaving you with a lot of minerals, a lot of vitamins that the body needs as it's sweeping out the waste. I've heard people say,
So,
no, you I heard people say, no, you shouldn't eat grains. And grains are the food of energy. It's about the type of grains you eat, and it's about whether or not your blood type supports it. You were going to say?
Yeah. What type of grain should we eat? Because I know that, like you said, some grains that I eat do not agree with me. So, um,
Mhm.
what type of grains? I know you said rice, and so what kind of
Right.
rice? Brown rice, white rice, basmati
So
rice?
during this season, during this particular season, you're going to eat. You're going to first off, if you're doing brown rice, you're going to do short grain brown rice because
Okay.
what you need is you need the fire. It has more fire. It has more fire than long grain. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you're going to do short grain. I would say brown rice, whether it's basmati or whether it's just brown rice. I would also say that if you're gonna eat rice, eat black rice. Black rice is full of nutrients. Okay, and some health food stores sell it. Some don't. I think Whole Foods sells it. I'm not sure. And I know Whole Foods in a lot of states that now, and so that would be one of the places I would suggest that you go and look. But you're talking about barley. You're talking about buckwheat. Buckwheat is real interesting because buckwheat has a neutral pH balance, and with it having that neutral pH balance, it's going to help the body become more alkaline than acidic. And so you want to kind of do that. Another one is oats. And there's a lot of people who say, well, I have a gluten tolerance, intolerance. So the piece about that is the fact that you know let's say that a person is having an issue with their weight, mm, or better still, that they craving them sweets. Okay, if you took and made oatmeal water, which is taking a 8-ounce glass and adding a tablespoon of steel cut oats, or old-fashioned oats, and then pouring distilled water, not alkaline water, not tap water, distilled water, because it's going to extract the nutrients from it. And you pull that out, and what happens is that what you'll see is that you put a cover over top of it. Once you fill the glass, you put a cover over the top of it, and you sit it on the counter or on the table away from heat overnight. The next morning, strain it and drink the water. If you decide you want to eat the oats, that's fine. But strain the water and drink the water. And you'll find that in 3, 4 days, a few things are going to happen. One is you're going to have a different energy level. Your energy is going to be boosted. The second part of that is the factor that if you're having an issue with waste that we call weight, you're going to find that you have a stability there, and you might have lost a few pounds. Third, if you're a person who has diabetes, and especially type 2 diabetes, you'll see that your fasting blood sugar level begins to decrease. Okay, because of the factor that it's in a place where the chromium that's in those oats work very well for digestion and especially digestion of fats. Okay, and helps the body to balance the digestive system. So I mean, oats is very, very powerful when you start to talk about grains. Um, Wild rice is another one, because of the factor that it has a multitude of different rices combined. What you're looking at is you're looking at its ability to, one, act as a prebiotic, but also be able to move waste out of the system and provide the body with fiber and with nutrients that the body needs. So when you start looking at foods during the season, you're looking at what kinds of foods are you eating. Fruits. If you're eating fruits, apples. Apples have malic acid in it, and what malic acid does is malic acid helps clean the system. It's a sour kind of element, and in some apples you'll taste sourness, and some apples are sweet, but the malic acid within that is definitely in a place where it's going to help to clean the body. And then you're talking about the pectin in the in the apples is like fiber. And so the pectin aids the cells in their cleansing and balancing and nourishing, but it also aids the body in cleaning out waste. And a lot of times, the apples will get rid of stagnated waste that's in the body. And so when you start looking at that, you want to also maintain the factor that when as a woman, especially, you clean your blood, you're also working on your uterus, okay, because of the factor that the blood that goes from your liver, which needs to be detoxified, um, goes into the heart, and now the heart is moving it, and it's moving it into the kidneys, and the kidneys are moving it into your uterus. And so in the winter is the kidney season, which really has to do with reproduction. And so now in the fall, you're actually working to finish building the blood so that the blood will be ready in the winter to do several things. One is to maintain the balance of your DNA that has to do in your bones. And the second part of that has to do with your stem cells. But it also will have to deal with the fact of how your body in the wintertime, especially if you live in a climate where you have those four seasons, how your body in the wintertime will begin to work in such a way where where you get that vitamin D. So if you went to the doctor during that time, and the doctor wouldn't say, well, you have a vitamin D deficiency because of the fact that it's been stored in the bones. So, as we move into and get ready for autumn, I talk about fasting. I do that consistently. Matter of fact, my body's telling me that it's almost time to do that. And the thing is that I have to look and see, because I've been traveling, when I'm going to be stationary to do the fast. But fasting is one of the ways that I have people um, in during each season to begin to balance their body and digestion. And you often heard me on this on your show talk about digestion, because digestion is the most powerful element of our body. It's the element that allows us to do um, what it is we do in terms of having energy, in terms of being healthy, in terms of longevity. And so that's the beginning of where we are. The other part of that is what we absorb, what we assimilate, helps all of that. And so when we fast and we move into the seasons in such a way where we're balancing ourselves in the season, we find that some of the health disharmonies that we've had or had begins to dissipate, begins to go away, and and our health begins to get really balanced and good, because of the factor that we're moving out a lot of different things. When you start looking at the aging process, and that's a process I don't think too many people can live without. The aging process. And when you start talking about the aging process, you're really talking about a process that has to do with how well your cells create their own balance. As women, you go from the childhood to puberty, and then from puberty you go to cycling, and you cycle all the way until you're around 49, maybe 50, and then your whole body changes because the hormones change. And so when you start to balance your body within the season, if you, for instance, if a young woman is having endometriosis or heavy menace. Well, if she began to balance her body in the season and start out with something like fasting, something of that nature, and then began to put in the right foods, she would find that the endometrial lining of her uterus would begin to shrink, and then we call it blood stasis, and then that would get rid of the blood stasis, where she would get a continuous movement so that it doesn't overflow, and that every 28 to 35 days her cycle does what it should. For instance, women who are living the life and Minna has paused on them, you know, then that's the time, when again to deal with the fasting and that kind of thing, because of the fact that helps to balance the kidneys so that women don't have hot flashes and night sweats and that kind of thing. For instance, dealing with the lungs, well, the lungs nourish the kidneys. So if you balancing the lungs during this season, what happens is that's going to begin to reduce the ability for women who are having hot flashes. You know, there are points in the body that women can use to reduce that, and I'll talk about that a little bit before we leave. Um, but you wanna also make sure that you're taking in things like cranberries and blueberries and bosoberries. Cranberries, what cranberries are going to do is cranberries going to work with the kidneys to create that balance that's needed, so that you don't have a UTI, a urinary tract infections, because women get them more than men. You don't have a buildup of yeast because of the factor of the acid in the cranberries. When you start talking about blueberries and blackberries and bosoberries, you're talking about the anthocyanins in those, and those are elements and the phenols, and those are the elements that maintain the cleansing and the nourishment of the blood cell. They've been known to help reduce and/or eliminate cancers in the body, and preventing them. And so when you start to take those in, and those are good within this particular season. Some women may have hemorrhoids. So for hemorrhoids, yeah, you can go to the pharmacy and get some. I think they're using preparation H or something of that nature. But you could take figs, okay, and soak them.
Take
And
what?
figs,
Oh,
a fig,
figs. Figs. Yes, figs.
okay, and soak them, and then and extract the water. You can eat the fig, but extract the water, and take a piece of cotton and put on in there, and then dab the hemorrhoids with the cotton. And what you'll see is you'll see them shrink. Okay.
If I can
That
interrupt you right there on the hemorrhoids,
mhm.
interrupt.
Okay.
Uh, Thank you for that tip for hemorrhoids. Do women typically get hemorrhoids during when menopause is, as you say? But before you go there, as I sit here and eat watermelon, and you say stop eating the water fruits, watermelon actually is August is the season for watermelon, or I know we're past August, but August is when it's at its sweetest and best. So I'm eating it right now, but it's time to stop eating watermelon.
It is because it's not a autumn food. Okay. And all
But
summer
we're
I
not in
enjoy
autumn.
I
Are we in
enjoy.
autumn?
No, well, we're actually in the season of the spleen and the stomach and the pancreas. Okay, because
Okay.
that's the last part of each season. So
Okay.
so within on the 21st of September, the equinox happens.
That reminds me of the Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yep. And
September.
right, September. And so and so the season for watermelon is over. The season for melons basically is over. You know, when you
All
now if you're
melons.
gonna yes, when if well, let me put it like this here. This is the way you should look at it. So if in September, October, November, December, and January, watermelon is growing around your area within 100 miles radius of where you live, then you should eat it. If it doesn't grow within that within that mileage, then that means that it's not part of the energy of that particular climate. Now, if you were in Jamaica, you in the tropics, that kind of thing, then you could eat watermelon almost all year round because it's growing. You see,
Right.
we should a lot of what's going on with people's health is the fact of a couple things. One of the things is that most people don't understand what foods they should eat for their blood type. That's the first thing. Your blood type is the fuel that fuels your body, and there's a lot of controversy about it. One set of people say, nah, that's a bunch of garbage, and other people say, nah, we need to do that. I look at it logically. And the logical thing is that if I gave blood to the Red Cross, the first thing they'd want to find out is what my blood type is, so that they could have an understanding of who they could give it to and who they could not give it to because of the elements of the blood. When we start looking at the blood, we should look at the factor of the elements and the nutrients and the chemistry that makes up that blood. And so it's like your car. If you got a Mercedes Benz or Rolls Royce, and they say, well, put premium gas in there, and you put regular in it, then it guys gets into backfiring and farting and spitting and going on and having all of this stuff. Well, your blood is the same way. You see, your blood is the same way. I tell people really should understand and know what food you should eat for your blood type. That's like I like lentils. I love lentils. I have old blood, okay, old positive blood. So if I eat lentils, I have an issue. So I make sure that if I'm gonna eat lentils, I don't eat them often, but when I eat them, I'm in love with Ethiopian food. So in Ethiopia food, they got a bunch of lentils, and so when I decide to go and eat Ethiopian food, I always make sure that I take digestive enzymes before. Okay, and sometimes I take them afterwards because of the fact that I understand that my body does not process lentils in the same way that somebody who has maybe B or AB blood. And so that's the way that you would work with that if there's a food on there that you like, or something of that nature, and you want to eat that food. The
Well, let me
the
let me tell you this. I know I just hold that because I'm B negative, and I
Okay.
know the food I'm not supposed to eat, which I texted you the other day. Corn is like the number one thing that I cannot. I don't care. Even Ayurvedic, they say corn. My blood type, corn. It's like I'm not supposed to eat it. So I set up and ate a whole bag of popcorn the other day, and I'm still paying for it. Like I still have that feeling up in my esophagus and stuff. I'm
Mhm.
trying to get rid of it. I will never do that again. But and I should have taken a digestive enzyme before I did it, but nothing's to say that it would not have still happened. But to your point, there's a lot of things that I can't have chicken.
Mhm.
I can't have popcorn or corn. Uh, lentils was on there too. The
Mhm.
only meat I can eat according to the blood type is lamb, goat.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not nothing that people eat. I just say there's no beef, it's no chicken, it's no. I don't eat beef or pork anyway, but those aren't on there. Chicken, I can't have. I can only have deer. That's right, deer, goat, and lamb.
Hmm. Yeah. And so when you start to look at that, when you start to deal with that, that's how we know who's going to be a vegan and who's not, you know, and how that's going to function. I tell people, one of the first things that you should understand is what your blood type is. Because when you understand what your blood type is, and you understand the foods that you should be eating for your blood type, then what you're really looking at is that you're looking at the factor that now you're going to be healthier than you would if you ate foods outside of your blood type. And you just get bad witness to the fact that you ate some stuff that you shouldn't been eating, and your body's saying, "Yo, what's up with that? How you gonna do me like that?" And so now you're feeling the residuals from it. And so that's one of the first things that I suggest to people. The other piece that I suggest to people is the factor that digestive enzymes and probiotics, and people might be getting tired of me saying that, but that's the truth, because of the factor that that's going to help break down the chemistry in your body when you eat these foods. And the foods that we eat now are is terrible. Just I mean, it's just terrible, you know.
Yeah.
We're eating foods that really don't have a whole lot of nutrients because of the factor of it could be the seed, it could be the way that the farmer is farming it. But on the other hand, we're eating foods that can be very good for us because of the factor that the farmer is local, and we should be eating locally grown food because it maintains and balances and has the same temperament that we have. Um, that's like as we move into autumn and winter, we shouldn't be eating tropical fruits unless we're using them for medicine. Because like if we use a papaya, then we're going to use the papaya for medicine so that it'll break down protein. But if we're using it just for entertainment or food, then it could be more detrimental than it could be helpful because of the fact of where the digestive system is. The second piece of this is, work to balance digestion. And part of that work would be to stop digestion. And stopping digestion has to do with fasting. So I would suggest that you start fasting. There's a program that I do, like I said, every season. I'm getting ready to do it now. And it's actually up on my website. But you should fast because of the fact that that's going to stop digestion. That's what you want. You don't have to fast for long, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. And if you want to go longer, that's fine. But what that does is that gives the digestive tract a rest for a moment so that it can repair and rebuild itself. Then go back to eating foods and eating foods of the season, eating foods in proper combinations. Then what you'll find is you begin to find that you become more healthier. When
Well, let's
you
talk about what fasting looks like, though, because so many people are they don't do it because they don't know how, and they don't know what they should be doing. So, according to Dr. Akmal, what should a 3 to 7 day fast look like,
so
especially for women?
so in my program, the first 7 days that you decide before you decide be this first when you first decide that you're going to fast, you're going to take 7 days to withdraw from the foods that you're eating. Okay, that way you don't shock your body. That way your body don't say you're starving it. Then on the eighth day, you're going to go. Let me back up. Let me stop. Let me stop. And let me back up. So what would happen is that the first day that you start the preparation, you would take the heaviest piece of your out of your meal. Let's say that you eat beef, so you would take the beef out of your meal and eat all the other stuff you would eat. The next night, you would take something else out of there that might have been heavy. So let's say that you were going to eat potatoes. So don't eat the potatoes. So you took the meat and the potatoes out of there. And you added, and each day you adding more juice. The third day you would take something else out. The fourth day you might eat one meal. Let's say that you eat 2 meals a day. You might eat one meal. The fifth day, you would eat half of that meal. The sixth day, you would eat almost none of that. But each day, remember, you're putting in juices at the same time.
Mhm.
And in my program, you're taking herbs, you're taking specific herbs for the organs of that season. For instance, this season is the lung, large intestines. So you're taking herbs for the lungs, large intestines. You're also taking herbs for uh, uh, um, the heart, the small intestines, and the spleen, and the stomach, and the pancreas. So you're taking these herbs at the same time you're withdrawing from the foods. During the eighth day, you're eating no food and you're drinking just juices. So on that seventh day, you might have eaten an apple, okay, and drink the juice rest of the day. The eighth day, you're not doing any of that. What you're doing on the eighth day is you're basically fasting. So you would fast, let's say you fast for 5 days. So you would drink juices, take herbs, and drink water for those 5 days. You would either have a colonic or you would do an enema to help the bowel tract to make sure you pull everything out of it because you're talking about cleansing the system. Okay. Whenever you do that, you're going to now take probiotics because you want to maintain the balance of the microbiome or the gut flora so that it doesn't cause constipation and it doesn't cause any other kind of issues with you. When you decide to break the breaking the fast is the most important part of the fast. When I first fast, my first fast in 1974, I broke it with pickled cauliflower and almonds, and I thought I was going to die. So you got to break it properly. So you would go back, you would start to eat in the same manner you got into the fast. That first day you'd have an apple, continue drinking juices. The next day you'd have another piece of fruit, continue drinking juices, so that in that seventh day you'd be able to eat a full meal. Your body be ready for it, and you wouldn't have problems in regards to that. What you'd find is you'd find that after about 3 days, you're gonna feel a little sluggish, but you're gonna feel like you're balanced. When you go back to eating, what you're going to feel is you're going to feel a zoom of that energy from that food because that food that you've been eating, that food now is digesting better than it did before you started eating it. You would eat healthy food and you would take digestive enzymes and probiotics. And so that's going to help to create that balance. Now, in terms of women, what you're looking at is you're looking at ways of rebalancing hormones, especially if men is pausing. If you're having heavy cycles, that heavy cycle may be due to the fact that you got a lot of heat in your body. Okay. And so you want to be able to reduce and or eliminate that. So now you're putting in these cooling foods. I would say if you're going to do vegetable and fruit juices, first off, don't mix them because you got two different elements happening. Fruits cleanse the body, vegetables nourish the body. So you don't want to put them in there together in that manner because of the factor that they can begin to cancel out each other. And so what you should be doing is working to balance them hormones and to balance the cycling that happens every 28 to 35 days for younger women. Um, if you're having other things, for instance, fasting is going to help with the cardiovascular system because it's going to help to clean out, for instance, beet juice. Powerful, yeah, powerful. You know, and women of all ages basically should do that. Should maintain drinking beet juice. And my piece is, yeah, everybody's making it now and selling it, but beet juice, first off, it's an antioxidant, which means that it's going to keep cancer away from you. Second, it helps to balance their hormones. And the third is it helps to regulate the blood, and it's a cooling. So it's going to cool the blood, especially if a young woman has excessive menstrual bleeding. It's going to kind of cool that out. That beet juice is going to deal with that. Also, asparagus, but this isn't a season for asparagus. However, you can use asparagus if needed, if you need to, and the asparagus is going to assist one with the kidneys and the bladder. Okay, the other is going to help to clean out the bowel tract. So asparagus would be another good one that you could eat, that you could take. Now, cruciferous vegetables. If you're going to juice cabbage, juice a little cabbage, but I would juice the cabbage and I would add the cabbage to string beans or snap peas. Some people call them snap peas because they're in season. Okay. And so the piece of that is that the snap peas or the green beans, as I grew up knowing, they changed the name on them on me as I grew up, you know. But the snap peas, they're gonna help bring magnesium into the body. And if a woman is having diabetes, they're going to help to bring her blood sugar level down, and the beets are going to help to normalize that blood sugar level, as well as work to bring down the calcium, the LDLs, the cholesterol, you know, because the cholesterol is can be a piece with women in regards to blocking the arteries and that kind of thing. And so that would be one, you know, a couple of things that you could actually use in terms of vegetables. Now, with cruciferous vegetables, cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, they put kale in there. All of those block thyroxine. Okay. Thyroxine is the chemical that maintains the balance of the thyroid. So if you have an especially hypothyroid, be careful when you eat those or you juice them, because of the fact that they're going to have a devastating effect on your thyroid. Okay. So you really want to be able to, but you can use them. It's just about how you go about using them. You can't use a lot of it. You got to take a little bit of it so that it functions for you. Fennel. Fennel's another one that's good during this season. Fennel helps with digestion. Okay. So you want to have digestion moving forward. You want to be able to get digestion, because during the fall and the winter in Western medicine, they say, nah, it don't move like that. But in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, what you'll find that we talk about the fact of the changing of the digestive system during the seasons. And so the digestive tract now is starting to slow down. Okay. And just think about it, in the wintertime, you gain 5 or 10 pounds. So that when spring get here, people will be saying, oh, I can't fit in them clothes. Let me go lose some weight. And right. and the reality of that is the fact of that, no, your body's just storing more during those times. And because you're eating heavier food than you eat in the spring and the summertime. And so when you take in fennel's good to help with digestion. Matter of fact, in Ayurvedic, if you go into a restaurant, in an East Indian restaurant, and when you leave, they have a little bowl there that has some mints and that kind of stuff in it. Well, fennel's in there, okay? Because they understand that once you've eaten, if you take in fennel will break down any gas, first off, that's in there, okay? And second, it's going to help to smooth movement of the bowels. The other thing that women can take during this season is ginger. Now, this is a season for um, um, ginger that's raw. Okay, wintertime is more for dry ginger because the dry ginger is hotter. That's like onions. Onions is, if you're fasting or something of that nature, onions and garlic are a powerful element that's in them that has to do with sulfur and has to do with the cleansing of the blood cells, of the arteries, those kinds of things. Leaks is in that category as well, because when you start to put those in, especially during the fall and the winter, it keeps the blood flowing, and it keeps the blood from not from coagulating, but from adhering to it, so that you reduce and eliminate clots, that kind of thing. So fall is that time when you're oxygenating your blood, and you're making it so that your blood is able to support you and provide you with the nutrients that are needed, and especially as women.
Oh my goodness. You have given us so much powerful information. You all go to drakmalspeaks.com and join the class that's coming up regarding fasting. Let's all fast together, and let's learn this thing, because it's so much to know, as you can see, that we want to do it right so that our body is in perfect alignment and perfect harmony, as Dr. Akmal would say. We need that. We need that. If our mena is pausing, we definitely need to be in
Yeah,
perfect harmony. So
yeah.
we need to fast. We need to follow these instructions, and it's just 3 to 7 days, right?
Hmm.
Out of a month, because you want to, or I don't know, is it seasons or months that we should be doing
It's
that? Should we do it
it's
once a
it's
month or once a season?
it it's totally up to the person. I fast personally once a season, and I can go anywhere from 7 days to 30 days. It just
Mhm.
it just depends on how my body is. But I put the fasting program together many years ago. I think over 20. It was 19. Uh, I don't even remember. It was in the 90s that I put
Mhm.
that program together, and people go on and they do the program at their leisure. I don't press
Mhm.
you how many days. My suggestion is 5 to 7 days, but you get to day 3 and you say, okay, I'm worn out. I can't do that no more. Then I tell people to stop. I tell people, you set the amount of days. Don't allow me to set them, because of
But
the fact
anything
that
you do will be good for your body.
no question, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Saturday,
Yeah.
this Saturday coming, which I believe is the 7th, from 10 in the morning to 11, I'll be doing a introductory to a course that I'm putting together for women. That's a 12-month training course, and women can tune in. It's a free lecture on Saturday, that's going to talk about women's health and the program for women's health. That would be a once a month program, and it's over the internet. And so, with
Mhm.
that being how it is, what will happen is that we'll have a training session once a month, and I believe it's the third Saturday of each month, for women to be able to have an understanding of how to heal herself, which is a self-care program. The program will take women through understanding nutrition, and then understanding parts of Chinese medicine that will allow them to function. And as we get closer to closing, I want to do a couple of points that women can actually use. So one of them is right here. So here's the ear. And if you come right down to here, okay, and you take your fingers, 2 fingers, and you do this, and actually do it counterclockwise. So if there's a clock here, this is 12 o'clock, this is 1 o'clock, this is 11 o'clock. You'd go backwards. Okay. And you do it on both sides. Both sides. That's it. hmm What that's going to do is that's going to do a couple of things. That's going to clear your head.
It's definitely giving me chills.
Yeah. And it's also going to, right, going to cool you down. Okay. And it's also going to help to restore your blood pressure. Okay. That's one of them. The other one, which
How
is for
long
the
do you do
lung,
it? How
it's
long do
up to
you do
you.
it?
It's up to
Okay.
you.
So it's
And
not dangerous to continue doing it for as long as you
no,
want.
no,
Okay.
not now. If you stand there for 15 days doing that, then you might, and don't stop. Then you might find yourself with some issues. But outside of some issues that you might like, but outside of that, I would say, do it when you think about it. Because of the fact that if I tell you that, well, you can only do it for 10 minutes, and you got into it and you feel good about it, and you said, well, I'm gonna say for another 15, 20 minutes, then the stress gets, well, he only said I could do it for 10 minutes. So let your
Yeah.
body show you and tell you how to do that. The other one is right here. Okay. This one is right here. And it's right with that little, I'm sorry, wrong hand, wrong side of the hand. It's right here, right up underneath of the thumb. Right there,
Underneath it.
right in
Okay.
here.
Okay.
So if you take your thumb like this here, right, and go just like this here, okay,
So
and
I
and
was
and
doing this point last night. I thought it was for sleeping, for having good
okay,
rest.
this it can help you do that, but it clears all of this here in your chest and your lungs.
Okay.
So by it doing that, it's going to relax you. Okay, this one here, that'll put you to sleep. Okay,
Okay.
that can put you to sleep. But this one here is going to, there's three of them here. There's 8, 9. Okay, there's actually 7, 8, 9. Those are lung points, and so those points are going to work to, and just take your thumb and put it flat and just rotate it. Okay, those points are going to do several things. They're going to open up your throat. They're going to increase the power of your lungs, and they're going to open up your head. Especially if you say you have sinuses, and some people say they have allergies. Now, the piece of that is the factor that this is a season when this is a grass season. Autumn is a grass season, just like spring. And so by it being a grass season, you're gonna find a lot of people saying that they have allergies going on. And the reality of that is that their body's trying to clean itself out, because that's the kind of season that this is. This is a season of cleansing. During the winter, if you find yourself having those same symptoms, that means that your body's really nasty and your body's trying to really clean itself out. And that's what happens during the winter, because the winter is when you fortify your body, because of the fact of what happens with the kidneys. So when you do fasting during this season, what you begin to do is you begin to working things. And then the other one is like right in the middle of the hand, right there, right in the middle of the hand. Yeah, that's pericardium 8. That's going to take care of all of the elements of balancing your heart and the circulation of your blood. So that what happens is that you now begin to reduce Minna as she tries to pause, and you begin to get the heart blood flowing. So that in some cases it's going to help to reduce the issues with menopause, that kind of thing. During the class that I'm going to teach, um, women will get into a lot more points, and they'll get into ways of, you know, stopping the endometrial pain, stopping the hot flashes and night sweats, um, work on moving into a better fertility um, that they're looking for because of the fact of some of the things that we'll do. The spring, sorry, autumn is a good time to start to begin to develop that, so that when winter comes, because winter is the season of reproduction, and so when winter comes, what will happen is that women who take that program will get into working with with the kidneys, so that the kidneys now begin to balance the reproductive system. So this is a good time. And I normally start this class in the fall, so that we begin to get that cleansing happening. And then from there we start to deal with the reproductive system, because of the factor that that's the winter. This is the immune season. This is the season to balance that immune system.
Woo! Did we get a
Yeah.
lot of information? I tried to give you all as much as I possibly could. Just keep watching the video. Keep, and take notes. Every time I'm on with Dr. Akmal, please get your pad and your pen and take notes, because he gives it like none other. And he's here to help you, and I'm here to help you, again, live an optimally healthy life. So with that, I'm going to give Dr. Akmal the final words, and then we'll be out.
So I would say this to you. Every breath that you take is a blessing. Every step that you take should be with knowledge. Every thought that you think should have wisdom. And when you compact those together, you should be loving yourself. And when you love yourself, you now have the possibility of optimum health. Because you can heal your body from almost everything that's going on with it when you put the right tools together. One of my teachers once said, there's only two treatments. There's the right one, and there's the wrong one. When you're looking at things on the internet, become a researcher. Don't take what anybody says. Research it, so that you have an understanding of what you're doing to your body. Because if you love your body, guess what? Your body's going to love you. Be well, enjoy your life as you peacefully walk in health. Saturday morning, I'll see you. Also, go to the website, The Elder Suites, Saturday morning. Be well, enjoy your life. Mudupe.
Bye, everyone. DrAkmalSpeaks.com. Have a good night.